Hello, guys. Today is on Monday, and as it is our norm, we usually host the Purpose Talks podcast. And here we make discussions which are key and which are enlightening, especially to the young people. And we are going to carry on from where we paused in our previous podcast. And we are tackling a very key topic, especially for university students. We know the topic, as we started it last week, is burning questions by university students. And we thank all the people who viewed our last video. We also thank you all for the comments and the questions which you've been asking. And I believe it's very interesting because university students are happening to appreciate this. There is a group of people somewhere who are minding on what they are going through, and at least they are trying to offer some answers. So, in today's podcast, we are going to have an extension of the same, or we are going to carry on from where we paused last time. Today, I'm alone. I don't have my friend, but next Monday, I will be present with him. So, let's just dash in quickly. Now, the fourth question, because last week we discussed three of them. The fourth burning question by university students is usually this question: apart from studies, what is my purpose in life? And I believe that is a very critical question. And that is a question which I believe every young person, immediately after you have hit the age of 19, 20, what is my purpose, should be your number one question in life. And why is this? The reason is because I usually believe education, and especially the opportunity of being at the university, gives you a platform to discover yourself, to discover the strengths you have, the unique abilities you have, and to discover more of you in terms of how can you serve society. And education happens to be a channel of bettering the real you and who you are. And that is why asking what is my purpose is very key, so that you can get to understand how can I marry my education pursuit with my purpose pursuit and be more effective in terms of service delivery, or as far as serving your generation is concerned. And I will start by saying, apart from being at campus, yes, it's true, you have a purpose. And let us begin by defining in simple terms what is purpose. And I believe purpose is reason for existence. Purpose is reason for existence. It is the assignment which necessitated your creation. When God decided to do the schedule or the calendar of earth, we all know that the earth began at some time, especially if you're a believer like myself, and we all know at particular time the earth will come to an end. So when God was scheduling all the activities which were to take place here on earth, from the first spin of the globe of the earth to the last spin of the earth, when God was coming up with that schedule, he had you in mind. And that's why you are born. And that's why you are on this earth. And generally or particularly, you could be at 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 or so. God scheduled you to be part and parcel of the activities which you are to take on earth. And he did that intentionally and on purpose, or with a reason. Therefore, the assignment becomes seeking to discover, when God created you, what did he really design you to come and execute here on earth? Because once you really seek to know, and you happen to know how God designed you both physically and in your inner self, how God designed you, and the kind of strength, the kind of abilities, the kind of equipment he wired within your being, when you come to that understanding and you specifically pinpoint, this is what God put in me, and God put it in me for A, B, C, D reasons. When you discover that, you come alive. When you discover that, you find something to serve in life other than yourself, other than money, other than merrymaking, without a purpose. You find something which is more important than any other thing in life. You find something which makes you important, even without anyone needing to tell you that you are important. And that thing is usually your purpose. So, if I was to walk us through a few clues or a few ways in which you can look at and get to discover your purpose, that would be amazing. Let us look at four ways or four clues or four things which you can seek to concentrate on to discover your purpose. And number one is this: acknowledging God as your creator. And this is whereby you surrender to the information, or this is where you commit your time to seek to understand how God created you and to seek to understand your relationship with God. And this takes us back to the book of Genesis, whereby we'll discover that after God created every other thing, he it came a time for him to create man. And I happen to be a man. You also happen to be a man as a university student because you're a human being. And what God did when it was time for creating man, he said this: let us create man in our own image and likeness. That opens your mind to this understanding that we carry the image of God, that is, in terms of a character, in terms of our appearance, the image of God, and we also carry the likeness of God, that is, in terms of our wiring, our inner wiring is that of God, that is, the likeness of God. And now, when you discover that we are wired like God, and that is why the reason I'm saying our inner wiring is this: a human being is usually made up of the inner person and the outer person. The inner person usually encompasses of the spirit, which is the life container, which is the breath from God which entered in a man, and the soul, which is the thinking faculty, the decision making faculty, the judgment faculty. And we also have what we usually call the heart, the seat of emotion, the reactionary point inside a human being. So the spirit, which is the life container, this is God's breath, which he breathed on the clay after molding it back in Genesis. So that likeness of God, which we carry or which we have, it is because in us, the spirit we carry, it was a breath from God. And you see, God is spirit. So it means a portion of God's spirit entered in us as men. And that portion of God's spirit, because it was directly from God, it is God-like. And that's why we are like God. Now, that portion has traits which are similar to our source, who is God the Father. So your assignment becomes this now: seeking to know. Because God is a creator, and there's a portion of you in him, it means you are a creator or you are creative in some way. Therefore, you should seek to discover which areas do I have an edge, or am I more advantaged in terms of creativity or coming up with creations. Let me just say creativity, which I tend to excel freely and naturally in life. When I'm amidst a team, which are the things that I tend to be creative faster than every other person? In my house or in our family, which areas do I tend to be more creative than any other person? Now that becomes your area of likeness with God and your area of creativity. And that points to your purpose. Now, that's number one, acknowledging God as your creator, because you will discover, as I've said, that you have his image, you have his likeness. God is a creator, so within you there are creativity elements. And those creativity elements points to areas whereby you become creative with more ease, and that points to a service to society. So that becomes your first pointer to your purpose. Now, what is your second pointer to your purpose? Your area of natural interest. This particular thing which you can do even when you are boring and you don't need to be forced to do it. It is something which makes you come alive. It's something which you can spend hours and hours doing. And it points to serving society. Something which you can be told not to do 10 million times, but you get back 10 million temptations to do it. Something which is inseparable from you. You just love it. Now, seek to know how can that thing be as solutions to people's problem. And again, that will be pointer number 2 to your purpose. Pointer is your area of difference. What differentiates you from your 10 closest friends? When you are with them, what do they usually say? Kindly, let us leave this assignment to so and so. When you discover there's something unique which differentiates you from your friends or from a team or from your classmates, from your churchmates, also that points to your purpose. So when you seek to know your area of creativity, which comes from your likeness and image of God which you carry, and when you seek to know your area of natural interest, then your area of difference, then your area of intense concentration and attention, what happens is all of them point to one thing: your purpose. So when you discover what all those 4 areas are pointing to, the next thing is seek to know how can this thing be a solution to a problem in society. Then once you identify that, do this. Come up with a plan. Come up with a vision. Come up with a mission. Then execution measures. And the vision could be even 10 years, 20 years, 30, 50, 70, or 80 years like myself. And identify step by step. Small, simple step by step to start somewhere. You can start at volunteering. You can start executing that service using your purpose just for fun. And then with time, what will happen is You discover you are serving individuals, you are solving serious business problems, you're even serving the corporates, and all of a sudden the country and the globe. So you start somewhere. And again, what I will say about purpose is this: when you discover your purpose, I want to tell you fulfillment and satisfaction comes alive. And there's no better place to discover your purpose other than when you are at the university. And the reason is because the truth is, when you're at the university, the classes are very flexible. Your timetable is a little bit flexible. At the beginning of the semester, you have fewer classes or there's no much of academic workload. So during that time, you can sharpen your purpose like never before. When I discovered my purpose was writing and trying to inspire people, motivate people, train and teach them, and also coach them, I used my time to read books. I used my time to listen. Every international and national speaker, pastors, and anybody who was in my line, I invested my time in them, listening to them, watched my videos, did online classes on communication skills, and I even wrote my own book, Untold Teenage God Told, and I wrote articles, distributed them for free. And what happened that was I was seeking to discover my strength, and I was also confirming what I discovered was my purpose if it was true. And you see, when you are serving people and you see a problem solved, you are like, wow, I am naturally a solution to a problem in society. And when I was at campus, that is what I was discovering. I meet someone, they tell me their problem, I walk through them a solution, and the solution works. And the people are like, thank you, you helped me. And I was doing it for free. I did that because I had time. And I never knew what that was doing was sharpening my purpose. I can give you examples of people who today are great business people who discovered their purpose was in the area of finance and investment, and today they are billionaires, and everything started from at the university. We all know the story of Bill Gates, the story of Mark, the owner of Facebook. We know even the story of Elon and many other people while they were at the university, even Steve Jobs. That is the time they discovered, this is my purpose in life. And then they decided, this is what I'm going to pursue seriously the rest of my life. And we know the rest has been legacy. So if you're a university student, apart from studies, seek to know your purpose. And you can use those 4 ways which I've shared with you. And I want to tell you, you'll end up discovering your purpose. And aside your studies, you'll have another main reason to live for. And your studies will be a decoration or a supporting system for you to serve the world with your purpose globally. So that is the fourth question, and I believe the question has been well answered. Now, why can't we look at the fifth question, which is going to wind up our session today? And this is the question: what do I do as a university student when I am underfunded by my parents or my guardians? So, what do you usually do when you discover your needs and the money which you are being sent while at your university, they don't balance or they don't reconcile? What do you usually do? Now, I believe there's something called smart spending, and that is a course or it's a kind of training which every university student should seek to undertake. And one of these days, keep watching our videos. We are going to run you through that training. Now, I believe the key answer to that is the formula of smart spending. And how does that usually happen? This is how it happens. Number one, you settle down and honestly write down your expenditures and also write down your income, the amount of money which you are sent by guardians or parents, and get to know, does my expenditures supersede my income? If that is the truth, now the second question comes in: how am I going to sort my deficit? Because at the end of the day, if there's a deficit, it has to be sorted. And of course, if the money you have cannot sort the deficit, it means that money has to come from another place. Or number two, which is obvious, you have to cut your expenditure or do away with some of your expenditures. So honestly, first look at your expenditure list and look at your income. Then set your expenditures in terms of priority, which is what is the most important thing, which you need to spend on. Then number two, have your budget. That is, have your expenditures, have your income. Then prioritize your expenses. And this is how we prioritize. Start with the most important and urgent, then important, then urgent and not important. So after you arrange in order of urgent and important, important, urgent and not important, first put your money on what is urgent and important. Then after that, what is important. Now, if your income, you still have your income, you can still spend on what is urgent and not important. But sometimes you'll discover even what is urgent and important, the income you have cannot sort. So what do? I have said if you have a deficit, at the end of the day, that deficit has to be met with money. And if you don't have that money, it means that money is in another person's pocket or bank account. So how do you get that money in another person's bank account or pocket for you to have it so that you can sort your budget? And I believe there are a million ways of doing that. So number one, if you're a university student, this is what you can do. First, seek to know. Number one is this. While you're at the university, I believe that is a key stage of you starting to nurture the skills of doing business or business skills within you. So what do you usually do? At the university, there are people. All the time, wherever there are people, that is a market. So you can seek to identify what are the common products or the common services the people around me usually spend on. And you might discover, for instance, when you are at the university, you might discover people like chewing candy, or maybe you might discover there are people who go to class that they don't have a pen. Probably you might even discover people like taking fruits, or maybe they don't take fruits and fruits are important. You might even discover university students like particular colognes, so or even particular clothes. So first study your environment or the people around you and seek to know what they usually spend on in terms of the products they consume or the services which they are usually in need of. And then ask yourself, while I'm at the university, can I spend some extra time to get these products or come up with this particular service I serve my immediate market with? So if you find there is some, just start and start with the lowest stock as possible. And how can you do this? You can reach out to a friend and tell them, especially senior friends who at least have money, tell them, I've discovered time and again I am in short of my budget with this particular amount, probably 5Gs or 6Gs or even 3Gs or 3K, whichever you call it. Tell them that you have been in deficit of this amount in your budget time and again while at the university. And you tell them, do you know what? I came up with an idea and I want to start probably selling sweets to students. And I did my research and I discovered I need 1,000 to purchase 3 packets. And I know after selling those 3 packets, I know at the end of the day, I'll be getting 200 bob at the end of the day as profit. And if I do that for 20 days, that will be like 4,000. And that will sort my deficit. And I will be selling these sweets probably when we are going to class or during lunchtime or in the evening. Or probably you can decide you are going to be selling fruits in the evening. So once the classes are done in the evening, what do? You go and sell fruits. So at the end of the day, the people around you find a market. Let them be your market and give them products and services they need. That can make you start earning money, which will sort your deficit. The other way in which you can tackle the same challenge is today we are in technology world. And with technology, it means you have your phone. The phone has got millions of ways in which you can make money. And one of the ways probably you decide you're going to become a social media marketer. Ask companies that you're going to offer them services for marketing their products or you're going to be their marketer online. You don't need to go out and work. You can even do that at the comfort of your room. Or probably you can start a YouTube channel, start creating content and all of that. After some time, you start getting some amount. So figure out which business ideas can you undertake without losing focus on your studies. And I want to tell you, you'll find many. When I was at the university, I remember there are times when I sold clothes, there are times I was selling cakes, there are times when I would be called, I go talk, I'm given some amount, I'm given some stipend, and that kept me going. When you're at your worst, you can just call someone who you believe they care and just tell them, do you know, I am really, really constrained financially at the university. I can't meet my budget. I have a deficit of just this a particular amount. And be honest, don't be extravagant. Because if you're extravagant, they will get bored with you. They might help you in the first call, but in the second call or in the third call, they will not pick your call. So just be honest. If you need 1K or 2K or 5K, just tell them that. And if they tell you, do you know what? I only have 1K, accept, say thank you. So when you're at your last point, last breath, when you are really, really constrained and the business has not worked, or probably you don't have money to start the business, call someone, let them walk you through. They also sent us, while you're at the university, you can go get some food. Tell them, right now, I don't have money for food. Just tell them, they will give you. What I'm trying to say is, don't be at a point of going a night without food or just ending up in depression, in stress, uncomfortable. You're not able to attend classes because simply your basic needs are not met. Don't stoop that low. Speak up. And the best thing is seek to know. Market around people around you. How can you give them products and how can you give them services? And again, if you have discovered your purpose, also seek to know how can you monetize it. Because if you find a way of monetizing your purpose, and we said our purpose is the natural us, the unique abilities that gives the strength that we have naturally. When you find a way of monetizing the same, and especially when you're at campus, then that is the best thing, because it means as a university student, you have something natural in you which is generating you income, and that is the best. And that's what I've told you. When I was at campus, sometimes I would be called by schools, high schools. I'll go and do talks and they'll give me money. When I'm back at campus, I have my shopping sorted. I have those particular needs sorted. So you can just decide, yeah, I have discovered my purpose. How am I going to generate money from the same? And that's all. I remember there sometimes I was writing articles. Then I was selling them 10 bob. I go print at 2.5 shillings and I sell them 10 bob. And that will be close to 7 shillings profit. If I sold 100 of them, that is 700 bob. And at the end of the day, I have my 2-3 days food catered for. So at the end of the day, don't allow yourself reach at a point of desperation such that you are suffering. Don't suffer while there is an option which you can undertake and avoid suffering. So those are the answers to those two key questions which are burning for university students. And what I will urge you is kindly pay attention. Keep watching these videos, share with your friends, follow us, and be keen, because on Monday we are going to conclude this topic and we are going to start another fiery topic, especially for young people, because we believe we are here as young people to help fellow young people, because at the end of the day we believe the future is on the hands of young people, and we believe what we do here is equipping them so that we can have the future on safe hands, and not that we can have a better future, because at the end of the day the quality of young people will always reflect the quality of our future. So if you are a young person, know that you are able, you are the next great thing. Know that we believe in you even more than you believe in yourself. And what we are trying to do is awaken that giant within you, make it jump out and roar and manifest in the business place, in the spiritual space, in the intellectual space, in IT, in leadership, in every realm which exists as far as human sectors are concerned. So thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time in following us. We love you. Thank you.